theorizing that one could time travel within his own lifetime, Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. He awoke to find himself trapped in the past, facing mirror images that weren't his own, and driven by an unknown force to change history for the better. His only guide, Al, an observer from his own time, a hologram which only Sam can see and hear. And so Dr. Beckett found himself leaping from life to life, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping each time that his next leap would be the leap home. Now, 30 years later, Sam Beckett never returned home, and Dr. Ben Song steps back into the quantum leap accelerator after restarting the project. And this is what we're here to talk about today. One of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time, the original Quantum Leap, got a continuation, and I just watched both seasons of it, and I want to talk about it. So I know I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but I just recently watched this on Netflix, and I wanted to talk about it. It just reaches someone that's, debating whether they want to watch it, someone who was a fan of the original or someone who saw it and thought that looked interesting. Here to give my 2 cents as a fan of the original and who grew up on something like this, just maybe to help you decide one way or the other. Quantum Leap is a show that was aired in 2022. It is a continuation of the original Quantum Leap, which starred Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell from 1989 until 1993 when it finally went off the air. It ran for 5 long seasons back when shows were 22 to 25 episodes a season. It was one of those shows that was phenomenal sci-fi. Scott Bakula was an amazing character as Dr. Sam Beckett, Al as Admiral Al Calavici. He made the show. It's this dynamic that made that show popular. The show ended in 1993 on a controversial ending. The show ended with just a title card, and that really irritated a lot of fans. The whole point of the show, or what we felt was the point of the show, was getting Sam home. And then to end it with a title card and never having that resolution sets up Quantum Leap 2022. Back to the original point of this video. Quantum Leap 2022. I was hesitant to watch it. So when I saw that it was on Netflix recently, when I restarted my subscription, I decided I was going to watch it. And boy, I'm glad I did. This show, I love about 75% of it, and about 25% of it I don't like. The 75% that I like is the homage to the original. I like the fact that it's trying to be its own thing. It's not trying to be a shot for shot recreation of the original Quantum Leap. I think if they would have tried to do that, they would have messed up. I think that people would have seen it, and it's not as good as the original. I like the idea of delving into the present of what's going on. I like the idea of delving into the lore of the project, of the science behind it, of what makes the leaps happen. So basically the premise of the show is it's been 30 years. The project has been scrapped, been canned. Admiral Calavici has been dead for a year. There's a new admiral in charge. His name is Herbert Williams, played by Ernie Hudson. Herbert Williams, he's the new admiral. He has some ties to Admiral Calavici. They both, knew who each other were. Admiral Williams decides to start up Quantum Leap again, and he assembles a team. Led by Dr. Ben Song, is played by Raymond Lee. I like what he brings to this character. I would love to have seen more from this character. He's playing the Sam Beckett role, but he's not Sam Beckett. Ben's counterpart on this show is Addison Augustine, played by Caitlin Bassett. And then there is Mason Alexander Park, who plays Ian Wright. And then Riza Lee, who plays Jen Chu. Now, this is our security expert. Why we need a security expert at Quantum Leap? Well, it's Quantum Leap. It's a secret government project. The show is set up very different from the original. In shot, in tone, in lighting, everything. The original was just about 2 people going through these adventures every week at a different point in time. The new one is set up as kind of a more modern sci-fi show with mystery, intrigue, secrets. Season 1 sets up this intrigue. Ben leaps. He leaves behind a message saying, "This is much bigger than us. It's why I'm doing this. I wish I could tell you, yada, yada, yada." And so we're left hanging all season with little kernels dropped every 2 or 3 episodes. But we do get ties to the original show, original characters. That alone kept me watching, kept me coming back, and why I think these characters deserve a watch. We get to the end of season 1, going into season 2, the big reveal and the big everything. And season 2 is where it kind of lost steam for me. Season 2, I'd say the first 5 episodes, I was kind of over the Addison character because of the way they wrote what happened between season 1 and season 2. It kind of irritated me. And it kind of is like, what was the point of setting up all of that stuff that they set up? There is There is a point in season 2 where it does kind of make sense. So it does redeem the first 3 or 4 episodes for me. But that first 3 or 4 episodes was rough to get through for me because I was every time Addison was on the screen, I was just like, yeah, no, I don't care. I don't care about you. By the end of the show, by the last episode, I wanted more. I wanted to see a 3rd season. I wanted to see where they were going because that cliffhanger they left on, it was kind of a cliffhanger, kind of not a cliffhanger. I mean, I could see it being a cliffhanger for the next season, but I could also see it being like, okay, this is their reality now. And it's kind of like an ode back to the original ending of the original Quantum Leap. And I just really wish they'd have got a season 3 to try to iron out some stuff. Unfortunately, we'll never get that season 3. Overall, what was the takeaway? The takeaway is this was 75% worth a watch, 25%. Am I going to make it through this? The pros of this series. Overall, the characters are really interesting, really intriguing. They do a really good job of making the core characters, the core 5, really intriguing and make you want to keep watching them. Ernie Hudson is phenomenal. And I do like a couple of the other characters that show up. There are 1 or 2 characters that do show up from the original series. I continue diving into the overarching lore of both shows. It drew me in and wanted me to know more and hear more and see more. Now, the cons, and I only have 1 or 2 of these. It feels like the stories that Ben, the time travel part, the parts where he's in the past, were kind of an afterthought of this show. It doesn't feel like those stories were given too much time to breathe for me to care about what's going on. At some points in the show, I do find myself caring more about the present than I do about the leap itself. A good 25 or 30% of all the scenes where he's back in time with those characters and those stories being told are kind of, written wooden or written like they're an afterthought. And then the other con here is, I think what really, really, really hurt this show was the lack of Scott Bakula. And I don't mean Scott Bakula being full-time. I don't mean that at all. Like, I wouldn't want Scott Bakula in this show because it's trying to be its own thing. But I really wish they'd have brought him in for like the season 1 finale or even the season 2 finale or somewhere to, to kind of pass the torch or kind of, tell Ben or to give Ben a new piece of information that he didn't have or maybe to be like Al/God at the end of season 5 was to him, like, you don't have to leap blindly. You are controlling your leaps. I think with a lack of with Scott Bakula not wanting to come back because Dean Stockwell was gone and he didn't want to do it without Dean. I get that and I'm cool with that. Scott, if you ever see this, Scott, Mr. Bakula, I would love to have seen your character kind of deal with that with Admiral Williams. I would love to have seen that, Mr. Bakula. I think the fact that you decided not to do a part in this show kind of hurt it getting a renewal or being a long-term point. I think if you'd have had that anchor there from fans in like season 1 and connecting that crucial dot, I think this show could have been 4 or 5 seasons, 7 seasons in at this point. Those are my only 2 gripes with the show, for the most part, and the fact that it didn't get a 3rd season. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the show. I love the original series. I really, really like the new Quantum Leap. I do think it's a binge-worthy show. I do think it's worth 1 or 2 watches. It's sad that we're never going to get a 3rd season of it, but I kind of understand why. And if it never gets any more, I think it was left at a point where we can be okay with it. If we could come to terms with the end of season 5 of the original series, I think the ending of season 2 is the same, honestly. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's my take on Quantum Leap 2022. If you like my take, if you like my review, if you hit the like button, hit the subscribe if on YouTube, comment in the below or to the side on TikTok. We'll have a conversation. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, don't let your video viewings go a little caca.